just like that, the week is almost done. And can I just say, I am super happy. Nevertheless, you're watching Smell the Coffee with Anna Master and Aina Riza Koya on this fine Thursday, chilly morning, because winter is being like that toxic ex that just can't understand that you kick them to the curb.
Yesterday was so cold, and yesterday I was not dressed for it.
Oh no.
I wore like, I was very chilled.
Oh no.
I wore like a normal top under, no long sleeves, and like a short blazer, short armed blazer.
And that time it's a thin blazer.
It's a thin blazer. Because I was just like, it's probably chilly like now until 9, and then
the whole day.
Yesterday yesterday I had so many things to do and so many people to see. So I was moving from place to place to place. When I went home, I just went under the blankets immediately. I was so cold. But even today's a bit cold, but today
she came prepared.
Today
The came prepared.
So
yes.
I think maybe it's winter saying goodbye.
It's winter saying goodbye. It's also global warming. I had an interesting conversation with my driver this morning. He said that he doesn't believe global warming or climate change is real. He thinks that they're making it up. So
who's they?
He's like, no, guys, they've been saying these things since we're in school. They just have different names for it. Back then, they were saying that the ozone layer was damaged, and then they moved over to global warming, and now it's climate change. I'm like, and then he says, no, but Namibia has always been like this. We've always had a drought. That's what he said. I'm like,
Not always, but okay.
Okay, but maybe for as long as he can remember.
To a certain extent, we've been a droughty nation.
I understand the whole dry, the fact that the country is dry and whatnot, but I was explaining to him, I'm like, okay, then how do you explain the glaciers melting and then now new life is being uncovered, like new sea life and whatever, because the glaciers are melting? He's like, no, okay, fine, maybe the glaciers, but everything else, I'm like, no, to me, that is climate change. Yeah, because we were discussing the forest fires that are currently happening in Europe.
Yeah.
And my mom was in Whitby, and she was saying, like, 2 streets down.
Where she's staying?
She's staying, yes. It was, like, a huge fire. And then this Han, being so unserious, said, yeah, so you guys are just going to hear that Hazel was swept away by a chariot of fire. Like
Not like Elijah with a chariot of fire.
I was like, you're so unserious. But anyway, climate change, global warming, the ozone layer being damaged, whatever you want to call it, I believe it's real.
It's definitely real. And on that note, we will come back with real news in the world of entertainment and a real local poet that is changing the industry for all of us.
Do you like traveling?
Do you like to experience new places?
Well, then you should tune into On the Rock, where we explore enjoy establishments all over Namibia and South Africa. Great food, great fun, and so much more. So be sure to mark your calendar as we explore the beautiful landscapes of Namibia at the various enjoy establishments.
And where we also get to go on game drives, different activities, and meet the awesome staff of the different establishments.
We will see you there. Watch On the Rocks every Monday at 9 p.m. on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25.
We start with some controversial news, or what shouldn't be, but is. I would have never dated a man with a child, even though I had one, says Ntando Duma. Actress and television personality Ntando Rambani Ni Duma has sparked debate online after revealing that despite being a mother herself, she made a conscious decision never to date men who had children. During an interview on the El Tido podcast on YouTube, Duma explained that her choice was purely based on personal preference rather than selfishness. I would have never dated a man with a child and I had a child. That was my preference and it's a preference thing. It's not even being selfish or anything, she said. Duma added that everyone has the right to set boundaries in their love lives, saying the same way girls say they don't want to date a man without a car or money, same with me. I didn't want to date someone with a child and I had my own reasons. There's too many people, so I didn't want someone with a child, and not because I hated their children or I would never know what to do with their children. It was just a preference thing, and I have a right to have preferences on what or who the person or on who I want to date and what I want them to have or not. Now, earlier this year, ILL reported that Duma and her now husband, musician Una Rams, confirmed long-standing speculation that they had tied the knot. Following Duma's comments, users on X weighed in on the conversation, with many divided over her dating preferences. Giving her opinion on Thando Duma's statements, user Idiniwe Python agreed with Duma's preference but criticized the timing and the platform of the revelation. I'm on her side when it comes to preferring someone without a child, even though you have one yourself. However, saying all of that after you got married on a podcast, completely uncalled for. She's given leeway for her husband to get disrespected online, while another Pink Doll Love said pointed out the perceived double standard in Duma's remarks. Thando Duma saying she wouldn't marry a man with a child even though she has one is interesting. Yes, it's her preference and she's entitled to it, but still the double standard is hard to ignore. Now, another one said she was right and questioned why any man would pursue a relationship with a woman who already has a child.
Yeah, like why would you date anyone with a child?
Preferences.
I'm sorry, guys, but no.
Preferences.
I agree with the lady or the man who said that. I agree with her sentiments, but maybe a wrong platform, because now she did really create leeway for her husband to be disrespected. Because it's like, oh yeah, why would you marry a woman with a child, but you don't have a child?
Yeah.
So it's like,
But you know, there are some men that actively seek out single moms.
that's wild.
There are men that I know of someone who even said there was a phase in his life where he was just looking for a single mom, because he was saying
He wants
that,
to be parented.
I guess, but then he was also saying no one has their stuff together
Like
that,
a,
like
the
a single mom.
Yeah, yeah,
They know how to, if you give her 500, she'll know how to make it work with that 500.
definitely.
She is very responsible. So I guess maybe
Definitely.
in a way it also comes from a thing of you're looking to be parented. I don't know. I don't know. To each their own.
Yeah.
Like she said, preferences.
Preferences. Yeah, it's a good preference. I think that's also my preference, but I don't have a child. So I can say I don't want to date somebody else with a child. I also understand where people who are judging her are coming from, because
Yeah.
it's like, you have a child.
Why
but
can't you accept
yeah,
somebody
so
else?
you want to
Yeah.
walk in somebody's life with a child.
You
but
want someone to accept your
your
child,
child-
but you can't accept
Yeah.
theirs type of situation.
Yeah.
Like it's a tough path to walk.
Yeah. So,
I also would not date a man with a child.
yeah.
I would not.
It's just...
If I am dating a man with a child, his child needs to be like significantly older, because all the parenting has been done for me.
yeah, like maybe 21, like have
You
your
know,
life together,
have
be,
your life together
be in
already.
university, like in Europe or something.
Exactly, like that. Because I'll be the fun stepmom. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be the mean stepmom. Because I think it's very difficult to parent someone else's child when they've had a routine going. Because now you come in and you're like, no, don't put your feet on the table. And they're like, but my dad allows me to put feet on the table.
Exactly.
Now you're like, whoa. Okay.
Exactly. But nonetheless, moving over to Cardi B, as you might have seen on social media, Cardi B is in court again.
My girl.
So, my girl Cardi B returned to the witness stand on Wednesday in a civil suit brought by a security guard who alleged that the rapper assaulted her, even scratching her with her one nail extension in a 2018 incident in the hallway outside a Beverly Hills obstetrician office. Right. So on Wednesday, the performer blasted the plaintiff, saying she is looking for a payout. Imani Ellis seeking $24 million from Cardi B. Now, Cardi said the pair went chest to chest and exchanged heated words, but nothing more. Cardi B also reiterated in her testimony that she never touched, scratched, or spat on the security guard who she believed was taking videos of her with a cell phone. Her defense got a boost yesterday with a testimony of someone from that office with whom the then 4 months pregnant rapper had an appointment on the day of the incident, which was February 24, 2018, as well as another receptionist. So the receptionist told the jurors that she saw Ellis corner Cardi B, and then the receptionist got between the two of them. The guard reached for Cardi first. That's what the receptionist is saying. The receptionist also said she ended up with a cut herself on her own forehead. Now, Dr. David Finke testified that she saw the guard cause that injury and also hit the receptionist's shoulder. He further said that Ellis had no injuries on her face. Both testified they saw Cardi B hit. They never rather saw Cardi B hit Ellis. So, yeah.
The truth will come out eventually, Cardi. Don't worry about it. At the end of the day, people, like she's saying, are looking for a quick payout. And Cardi's
24 million.
24 mil is crazy. It is crazy. It's giving.
It's hard to be a celebrity girl.
It's giving. I'm waiting. If you step on my foot,
Yeah.
I'm suing you for 100 million because how dare you step on my foot?
Ugh.
It's giving. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Yeah, but anyway, the truth will prevail. Justice will prevail. Good luck to Cardi. If she's innocent, good luck to her. If she's not, like I said, justice will prevail. Nevertheless, as Aina said earlier on, we do have an interesting interview with a poet who is changing the waves one word at a time. Stick around.
They say that poetry is when emotion finds thoughts and these thoughts in turn find words. Now today we are joined by the biggest poet in the country. Her name is Dam Etu, and she is here to talk to us about her thriving career. What up, girl?
Girl, I like the way you say my name because you must say it with a bit of pizzazz.
Yes. I was at your
damn.
show. You called us out. You said you must say it with pizzazz. So I was like,
Please.
I have to make sure.
You must get it right.
I have to
But thank
make
you
sure.
so much for having me.
No, you're most welcome. Tell us about when you first fell in love with poetry.
To be honest, I have 3 versions of it. Number 1, there was this lady, I grew up in an after-school program called Mondesa Youth Opportunities. And there was this lady, she was a volunteer from the States, and she gave me this journal. I think I was in grade 4. So my writing had an influence on me being a poet. But as cliche as it sounds, there was a time, I think I was grade 6, I was cleaning an English class and I picked up this poetry book. It's an anthology, and it had a lot of poetry by different people. But I started writing, but I was trying to emulate the poetry that's in that book. So it was very Western kind of written thing. But then I think my friend was like, no, Chumi, but your writing is good. One guy saw it and was like, can you please write me a letter so I give it to my girlfriend? That was in high school. So I was writing letters in high school
for other people's
girlfriends. If you had a guy in high school, okay, chances are very high I played a part in your love story. So I was selling that. Literally, it was the whole black market thing. That's when I started writing poetry. And then it grew. And then I was like, oh, I'm actually good at this. It's interesting.
Okay, so what do you write the most about? Do you write with an audience in mind, or is it more of a personal release?
I think most of the times it depends on the pieces that I'm writing. But my writing process is not necessarily that I would think about what to write. Sometimes I would see something happen and I'm like, oh, that's actually something that I could write on. And then I write about it. But most of my pieces are either my friends' experiences, just general experiences. But now I think 5 years ago, when I started writing in Oshuambo, I started writing about the experiences of my childhood, especially about the women that raised me. I'm very big on writing about women's stories.
And what would you say? What would you say inspires your writing, apart from women's stories, what about women's stories are you really looking to write? Is it their day-to-day experiences? Is it their love stories? Is it their careers? Or just women in general? And maybe if we can narrow it down.
I like to say that I'm a storyteller, and obviously storytelling doesn't necessarily have a specific niche that I focus on.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's women and what stories they stand for. But I focus a lot on the silence of women.
Okay.
So this goes to what experiences do women have within this silence. And the setup that I grew up in, I grew up with a lot of women who surrounded me, but had a lot of traditional aspects that affected their life in different ways. I was raised by a grandmother who took in a lot of kids, and this person was very selfless, but in the end, her children, especially her boy children and the men that she raised, ended up, going against her, and she ended up having to leave her place. And all those factors come into the stories that I tell about this woman. She had a lot of resilience, she had a lot of self-love, and she took in a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And the one that I also write about is, I write about abuse, I write about how these women actually don't necessarily go report these abuse cases. And it primarily because mostly it's a traditional aspect. And Shuambo, they say Onkurakajo had dembo, which is very
It
wrong
is
to
so
me
toxic,
because what do
yes.
you mean Onkurakajo dembo? And who is beating the man? Which shouldn't be a thing, but
Yes.
like, why did we grow up on the notion that it's okay for women to be beaten and they have no outlet to go and report?
And even now, when you are beaten by your boyfriend or your husband and you
Yes.
go home and to say that, no, and they're like, oh, just go back, heal for now, and then go back. Yeah.
It's part of the marriage package, or it's part of the relationship package. And there was a lady who stayed in our yard. She would her boyfriend would always come after he drinks. It's like, yeah, you were cheating, you were doing this and this and this and that. And then he beats her, but it always baffled me how they would always sleep on the same bed. That silence there, what do you guys talk about?
No, I feel like people are very forgiving. When it comes to love, you can overlook a million things.
Oh,
you can
girl.
overlook a million
Girl.
things. And you get over it because I love this person.
Yes, they will change.
Yes,
You
they
have
will
this
change.
hope.
You are hopeful that one day, you will see greener pastures, which
I'm here to tell you.
oftentimes you never ever will.
They
The
won't.
people don't change, especially adults.
No.
It's hard for an adult to unlearn.
Because they bring these things from their childhood or wherever they learned it from, and there's no space for them to actually unlearn this thing.
Yeah.
So these are the stories that I write about. But also sometimes I write about love here and there, but it's not really a big factor because I want to write about the stories that every other person, women, experiences, mostly behind closed doors or mostly where they don't really have an outlet to speak about them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. When do you know that the piece is finished?
There are so many pieces there that I wrote
That are unfinished.
Yes, and I'm like, okay, this piece looks like it's done, but it's not really done. And sometimes I read it back to myself or I record it and then I listen from an outside perspective to see what emotions do I get from this piece. Am I getting the emotion that I intended to get, or is there something missing? Like currently, the Kwaito piece that I'm working on, I started writing that piece with a lot of things in mind, with one thing in mind actually. But when I started writing it, a lot of factors came into it, like what it stood for, what the genre stood for, what the dancers stood for. But I still feel like there's maybe an element that's missing that I still need to incorporate. So once I get that, sometimes I intentionally go into certain spaces that will inspire me to write certain pieces. And sometimes my team doesn't understand. They're just like, what are you doing there, Bra?
Who do you then consult when you're stuck, for example, with this Kwaito piece? Do you read it to other people or do you wait for it to be completely done, then you shade? And also, what is your creative process? How do you write? Do you write on a piece of paper? Do you use your laptop? Do you have to sit, go by the beach since you're from the coast, wait for the sun to come up,
me
and
at a
then
certain angle.
and then you start writing?
Okay, one, I don't necessarily read my pieces to people before they're done because I just feel like if I read it now, this person already knows and I have this feeling that maybe they have a certain expectation to how this piece might end. You know, I think the only pieces that I share with people are maybe intimate or sexual pieces that I write.
Yeah.
Those ones I can share because there are chances are very high that I might never recite them somewhere. You know, but most of my pieces, especially this Kwaito piece or any other piece, I try to read up on these topics that I'm writing about.
Yeah.
So reading is a big part of. They plays a big role in how I end pieces, what continues to the pieces that I feel like are incomplete. And my thought process, I write a lot on my phone. I don't know, I feel like it's faster with the thought process as opposed to having to write on paper.
Yeah, because sometimes you're in a cab now, you don't have a piece
Chwa
of
me,
paper.
chwa me. And there's a piece I wrote, there was a time I was somewhere at a drinking establishment somewhere in Karutura, and I saw something, and in the midst of everybody having fun and whatnot, I started writing, and that piece I finished because I was like, oh, this is inspired by whatever it is that I saw. And so my thought process, sometimes I write on the phone, and then when I feel like, okay, this is where my thought process ends for now, it's just maybe a rough draft, I can leave it. And then I see something else and I'm like, oh, this actually fits that other piece
Yeah.
that I had not written, that I had not finished. And then I get to continue it. But music also plays a big role in how I write. So depending on what I write about, I would also listen to a certain type of music
Yeah.
that directly translates into what I'm writing about.
Speaking about writing, I want to put you on the spot.
Ma'am.
But keep in mind, PG-13. What is that one line that gives you chills that you wrote?
I'm trying to think now. The one line.
Yeah, that you're like,
It's me that wrote this one.
it's me, it is I.
I think it's the piece about the women, and I can't really remember. I don't necessarily memorize my pieces, but it's a line where.
Oh, that's so brilliant. You don't memorize?
No, because I feel like when my pieces are not necessarily memorizing pieces because they are long and sometimes there's a lot of emotion into it. But there's a specific line where I talk about the women that I write about, the women who carry Omandinye Mbike and the women who forgive us and those patetekelanale. So I'm talking about the people, our friends who died a long time ago, but also these women have gone through so many things to make sure that us, the children, are in a safer space.
Yeah.
So I grew up with women coming from Kukwangali Wanyanga, deep in Angola. I'm sure you've probably not heard of that village. And these women would come with 25 liters of ombike just to come sell, and okanepe is mostly just what? That time it was $10.
Yes.
So imagine you have maybe 7 of these and you have to sell out, and then that money you have to go back. But in that process, I don't even know how much profit these people would make.
But also oftentimes you'd notice that that money is the money that actually sent most of us to school.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of it, a lot of that. And a prime example is my mom. My mother would, sell oshungu, or mongo, or kapana, just so she can sustain the households with my other siblings that are in the north with her. So all these aspects fall into that very specific line, because these are the women that carried all of us, whether it be your mom that sells fruits and veggies on the side of the road, or in a katak shop, or hadungo shukundu. Those are the very women that raised us.
Yeah.
Most of us millennials especially.
Power to the woman, man. Finally,
Please.
I want to ask about collaborations.
Yes.
You have said openly that you want to work with Gaza. Tell us why you want to work with Gaza and who else you want to work with.
Guys, please. If you have not tagged Gaza, please go tag Gaza in my comment section. But so this piece, like I was talking about earlier on, it's quite a piece. And when I started writing it, it was on. I grew up in Swakopmund, right? And there was a guy called Kawera. There's a guy, he's still there around. His name is Kawera. But Kawera used to host these Kwaito shows. It was always, so they were held at Meduletu Hall. It's a community hall in Swakopmund. and it's different Kwaito groups that would always come and compete against each other. And some of these guys were my friends, and most of them actually passed on. So when I started writing this piece, it's actually titled In Remembrance. It was, I was remembering these guys who passed on, and nobody actually talks about them anymore. So it was a thing of, do you remember who, you know, Balak, Pele, Tadeus, Makambe, all those people that I mentioned in this piece. But as I started writing, I was researching on Kwaito, and then I came across this book titled Born to Kwaito by South African artists. I think it's 3 South African artists who wrote on it. And they write, I came to realize that it's not necessarily the dance itself.
Yeah.
It's also the genre, the kind of music that influenced Kwaito, what Kwaito stood for, and all those things. And I feel like in our days, during listening to Kwaito music, Gaza stood out because we had fights in high school where it's, you know, Omshasho and GMP 467. I was always a GMP fan, but primarily it was because my brother was a big GMP fan, and in the house,
and he
there was
influenced-
no way you will come out. You are not a GMP fan. What are you doing? So the whole idea is to have Gaza as, you know, being the godfather of Kwaito, and all these other many elements around it would be, you know, elements that speak to what Kwaito stood for. So it's kids dancing Kwaito, it's all stars hanging on the you know, electric fence line, maybe with top score. It's men coming from work representing Odala Teiteke, you know, that whole aspect of contract labor system. And it's women selling kapana, and it's literally maybe even police brutality, all those many aspects that speak to what Kwaito stood for. And I feel like Gaza would be a great character to emulate that because of the kind of music that he does, and the kind of music that we grew up on, especially his album Stop Lapshikapute. I love that album, and it speaks a lot to all the other experiences that I've had when I would listen to him being in his Kwaito element and growing up.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Oh guys, it's gonna be a beautiful video.
I hope
That Gaza just needs to respond to me or something.
But Etu, we wish you all the best. We
Thank
hope
you
that
so much.
life remembers you and gives you everything that your heart desires.
Thank you.
And we will be rooting for you 24/7.
Thank you
When is the next show, by the way?
So the next show, I have 3 shows lined up.
Nice.
The next show is in August. So whoever missed the launch, there's a chance, because you're the amount of people like, yeah, no, how did I not see this? Guys, you follow me on the social media. How do you not see the things? But there's one in August. We still need to figure out a specific date. Then we have another show in the north.
Nice.
And then there's one in the coast. So I don't want to leave anybody out.
The one in August on Sister.
We are there.
On Optai. Thank you so much, Etu.
It is my pleasure. Please, thank you so much for hosting me.
All right, we will be right back. Stick around.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. Glenora Shapiro will be taking you through tomorrow, as per usual, for the Friday episode. Until then, bye.